to all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is the Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host, Sean Whittington. I am a seminarian in the United States Old Catholic Church, and I'm coming to you live from my haunted house, my very haunted house, where I live. We have a great show today, and you already all knew that. That's why you tuned in. We all know her and love her, and she's in the green room. I'm going to bring her right out. But I haven't talked to her. I haven't had her on the show in I don't know why, like 6 years. I don't know why. We'll find out what she's been up to. But I will get her on here as soon as I can. Let's check the prayer urn. Jennifer P. from Las Vegas, Nevada, a local. Hi, Jennifer. Loved you since your radio days. Love the current show. Well, thank you. And big fan of Legion of Exorcists. Thank you. I was just talking to my guest about, I still have friends that have known me all my life that are calling me wanting to know, how come you didn't tell us that you were on a show? I thought everybody knew. Guess not, guess not everybody knew. Best part of watching you on Legion, it brought me back to my church. Oh, that's beautiful. Please offer up and share a prayer that I can pray for strength of faith. Jennifer, you're going to make me cry. That's a beautiful request. You know what? I, any opportunity I get to say that, to say my newest favorite prayer out of my newest favorite prayer book, I say that's the Saint Benedict prayer book. This prayer is so beautiful, and every time I pray it on the air, I get so many people reaching out afterwards. Can you please send me that prayer? So I'm going to offer up this prayer for Jennifer in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. O Lord, my God, teach my heart this day where and how to see you, where and how to find you. You have made me and remade me, and you have bestowed on me all the good things I possess, and still I do not know you. I have not yet done that for which I was made. Teach me to seek you, for I cannot seek you unless you teach me, or find you unless you show yourself to me. Let me seek you in my desire. Let me desire you in my seeking. Let me find you by loving you. Let me love you when I find you. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Jennifer, thank you so much for the kind words. And for all those that keep reaching out to me, wanting to know why I didn't tell them about the show. Thought everybody knew. It's not on. It's not live on Travel anymore. It ran its 6 episodes, season 1. But you can catch it streaming now on Discovery Plus and Max. And I also don't know about a season 2. A lot of people reach out to me about that. I don't know yet. Okay.
Hey, boss. Before you continue, I need to bring this one up real quick. We've already got a message, and I'm going to make sure that you get all this information so you can reach out to Joanne after the show. This is something very serious, and I think this is somebody who needs your help. So I just wanted, before Joanne leaves the program, I just want to make sure that you realize that I'm going to send this to you, because this is a friend of ours who desperately needs your help.
Very cool. All right, brother. I will be right on it.
Joanne, stick with us, please. And Sean will reach out to you on Facebook, okay?
Okay. All righty. Thank you, Zach. Let's check the Paranormal Ministry mailbag. Bert R. from Arkansas. Arkansas. I can't remember the last time I had somebody from Arkansas reach out to me. Hi, Bert. An alternative to smudge? Question mark. People in my house are too sensitive to a lot of smoke and very sensitive smoke alarms. Something similar, but doesn't Smoke so heavy. You know what? I'm going to talk to my guest about that too when she comes on. I bet you she's got some good suggestions. Um, well, it's rough. You can try some of this sage spray. I buy this at like, a holistic or a metaphysical store, a spiritual store. And it's sage spray. It comes in a spray. I add holy water to it and blessed anointing oils and blessed salts to the mixture. But you can get a spray. Um, that's my best. That's the only thing I can think of that doesn't smoke so bad. I love using sage, but it just tends to smoke a lot. You can try this. Palo Santo wood. Palo Santo, meaning blessed wood. I use a lot of Palo Santo wood. It smokes, but not nearly as bad as sage does. You can try some Palo Santo wood. Um, I used blessed incenses. People say, well, that smokes a lot. Yeah, if you use one of these incense sensors, burners, yes, and get the raw frankincense and myrrh, that will smoke a lot. But you can also get actual frankincense and myrrh and Palo Santo incense. I get that blessed and I just burn those. They smoke a little bit, but not as bad as like those big sage sticks or those sweetgrass braids. So that's about all I can give you as far as advice goes for that. But I will also send you some more information on some techniques on smudging, cleansing, and blessing your home, Bert, and that may help you get away from the actual smudging part so much if that's becoming to be a little difficult in the house there. Alrighty. If there's anything you want to know about my wife and I and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. If you go there to visit, remember my wife and I don't charge for our ministry work, helping people with their paranormal issues. So, brothers and sisters, trust me, I know times are tough. But if you go there to visit, you notice the donate button and you're able to do so, click on it and send my ministry in a small donation. I promise you, it'll be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts. And trust me, we'll put it to good use. I'm also a certified spiritual advisor, intuitive coach, listener. If you're having issues of a spiritual nature not attached to the paranormal and you'd like to speak to me, there's a place on the website where you can make an appointment with me to speak with me about those issues. But don't leave without going to the page called the Introduction to Spiritual Warfare course/book. On that page, you'll find both my books, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry, and God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry 2. It's a series. I don't know if there'll be a 3. First one's an autobiography. Second one is Chronicles of an American Exorcist. Stories too scary for television. Um, if you haven't done your good deed for the day yet, part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of my books goes to support stjude.org, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital in Nevada, and the ASPCA. So it's a no brainer. You get to help some of the neediest children on the planet and the animals too. How cool is that? You can get the book a little less expensive at Amazon. If you buy it off of the website, it comes autographed and enclosed in a house blessing kit. Speaking of house blessing, but that kit will have sage in it. Unless you reach out to me and specify you want some different things in your kit, I can work around that. But it does come in a house blessing kit with instructions. So that's very cool. Scroll a little bit further down, you'll see the Introduction to Spiritual Warfare course. And that is a course for all you true warriors for Christ that want to learn how to draw your line in the sand, circle the wagons, put up a good fight against, God forbid, true evil if it ever comes calling. This is the course for you. No, it's not going to teach you how to be an exorcist. That's a different kind of calling. But this is a course um, through my eyes, what I've learned in the deliverance ministry field over the past few years, and what has worked for me when it comes to doing just that, fighting back, teaching people how to take their homes and their lives back and kick out that extra unwanted guest in the house that is there to turn your life upside down and possibly maybe even kill you. That's the course for you. You can enroll there at the website. You can also go to the Introduction to Spiritual Warfare course Facebook page, read a little bit of, or just reach out to me and talk to me about the course. We'll see if the course is right for you. All of my students that graduate get a stunning diploma, certificate of completion suited for framing, along with some other very special blessed gifts that you can only get from yours truly. Parting gifts, graduation gifts, if you will, from me to you. Um, so there you have it. It's a 12-week online college level course. I'm the teacher. Okay, now the reason why you all tuned in. I haven't, like I said, I haven't had her on. I don't know why. I haven't had her on the show in about 6 years. That's going to change today. But you all know where you all over. Critically acclaimed paranormal author, world renowned psychic medium, paranormal investigator, um, radio, television, film personality. You all know where you all over. Please welcome to the show. Give a big paranormal ministry family welcome to the one and only June Lundgren. How are you?
I'm good. I have a day off, so it's really good.
It's so pretty today. You know what? If you want to move on off, I can't stop thinking about this topic. You, I please forgive me if I'm being rude. Please forgive me. I'm going to try not to be rude here. I've always thought you were very pretty. I never thought you were heavy. Um, and I couldn't, I didn't even think about it. Then you mentioned how much weight you have lost since the last time we've seen each other and spoke. My wife's had me on Nutrisystem for a year and a half. I've lost about 50 pounds. I seem to have plateaued. I keep working at it, but I can't lose any more. You've lost a lot of weight. You look wonderful. There are so many people. I, you know, I'm not really a life coach or a diet expert, but I get people that reach out to me of all things all the time, wanting to know how to lose weight and stuff. If you don't want to talk about it, I know this is a paranormal show, but I talk about everything. It doesn't matter. If you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to.
It
But I know there's
doesn't
people that would
matter. It's
hear
the
about
first.
how you did that.
Yeah. No, that's fine. The thing you have to do really is you have to change the way you think about food. Our generation was all about everything revolved around food. Everything, holidays, birthdays, always big dinners and things like that. And you get up in the morning, you think, you're going to work. You think, what am I going to have for work? Uh, what am I going to fix for dinner? You had to stop thinking like that. That's the first thing you have to do is teach yourself not to think about it. And smaller portions and high protein, 70 to 90 grams of protein a day. And of course, vegetables. Try to limit your sugar intake, breads, things like that. But it took me about a year to lose 115. But it's a steady thing. You'll hit plateaus, and then what you do is you either eat a little bit more or eat a little bit less, and that kind of tricks your body into thinking that it's something, it's not going to starve anymore, and then you start losing again. You just have to fool your body.
Congratulations. It's not an easy thing to do. I jumped in. I was having some health issues. That's why I jumped into it. Then my wife, when she told me how, I guess I ate a lot, and she said it's actually a lot cheaper for me to have you on Nutrisystem. All the food's delivered right here to my front
Right.
door, and it's just cheaper for me. And I see that she spends, I don't know, probably over $300 a month just on my Nutrisystem stuff. But she says, believe it or not, it's a lot cheaper than me going to the grocery store and feeding you the way I was and the way you were eating. So I guess I was, eating a lot. But you were so right. Yeah, it was the sugar. I totally cut out sugar
Yeah.
and smaller portions because Nutrisystem's all about the smaller portions, and it's these 5 small meals a day spread out.
Yeah.
But of course, I started working out again. There were quite a period of time there where I stopped really exercising and working out. I got back into that. So, but I still have that mentality. You wake up and you want to know. Like
Yeah.
the next day before I go to bed, I'm like, okay, what am I going to have for breakfast in the morning?
Yeah.
What am I going to have for lunch? What am I going to have for dinner? Which snacks am I going to? Yeah, you got to get out of that. I don't know
Yeah.
what's bad about that. I don't know, but I hear people say you got to get out of that.
Yeah, because you constantly dwell on it. You're always thinking ahead and thinking what you're going to fix or what you're going to eat. You obsess about the food.
You know
Yeah.
what's another cool thing is how much better do you feel?
Oh yeah, 100 times better. Yeah, because I had problems getting. I couldn't get down on my knees and get back up again, and when I was that heavy and stuff. And so now I don't have any problems with that. I've been up on the roof cleaning off the moss. It is what
And
it is. You have to do
uh,
it.
yeah, and you're a nurse, and I was a
Yeah.
vet tech for 20 years, and you do a lot of down on your knees, back up, and when and even I do have knee issues,
Yeah.
but I've talked to heavy people that have no knee issues, but it's painful to be
It is.
constantly getting up and down off of the ground, off of the floor, wrestling big dogs around, or and nurse, you're on your feet all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's brutal. So yeah, very interesting. But well, congratulations. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'll keep plugging away at it, and we'll see what happens. Um, I've got some questions here. Not a whole bunch of questions, but people, as soon as I announced you were coming on the show today, people started sending me questions in for you. So here's this. This hits me right where I live because I've been in the animal care industry all my life. I can never remember not having a dog.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um, I saw pictures that you have a new dog.
I
Did you just
do.
get Cleo?
I just got Cleo about. She's been with us about a month.
And I also happen to know that you're an animal communicator.
Hmm.
So talk to me about. There's a lot of animal lovers out there. Obviously, or I wouldn't have got this question. Other people have noticed you got the new dog. First, let me throw this at you. I could be wrong. Is she a Springer?
Yeah, she is. She's a Welsh Springer.
Okay. I had a Springer when I was a little boy named Coco. Coco was a beautiful dog. I loved Coco to death. Coco loved me to death. The dog had legitimate Springer rage. Now, when I was a young kid, when the dogs just disappeared, I don't remember what my family would tell me, but they would
Uh-huh.
tell me something. And being a little kid, I would buy into it. I'd be
Yeah.
sad and upset for a little while, but I'd get over it. But I remember one time I had a little birthday party, and the dog almost crashed through the screen glass window to get at some of the little kids that were out there playing with me. Very protective over me. Um, what do you're an animal communicator,
Uh-huh.
tap into that. What is that all about, and how does Cleo have any signs of that?
This is her fourth incarnation with me, and I've never had experienced that. I mean, and I have a friend, close friend, that has Springer as well, and I've never seen that. I know they're OCD big time, but I've never seen one that's that way that wasn't abused before the individual got the dog. I have a friend in Chicago, and his dog, his first Springer when he got him, he was 2 years old, and you could tell he had been abused. I mean, you couldn't get near him with a broom. Nobody could pet him. He would just go off. I mean, he was just unpredictable that way. After he'd had him for a couple of years, that went away, but it never went away about the touching. He doesn't let anybody touch him, and they're very protective, very protective.
They're wonderful dogs. They're really wonderful dogs. We get a lot of them that come into the clinic. I work at my
Uh-huh.
day job when they call me in is at an animal hospital,
Uh-huh.
and they're just really beautiful dogs. And I've always had a soft spot in my heart for like Irish setters,
Yeah.
Springers, Cocker Spaniels. I had a Cocker Spaniel once that was so jealous when my little brother is 10 years younger than me,
Uh-huh.
and she was so jealous that we brought my little brother home as a baby that she ran away to the farm that was behind us where she had like a half a dozen or so ranch dogs that loved her that took her in, and the people loved her there, and she had horses and cows and sheep and all kinds of farm animals to hang around with. So it wasn't that big of a deal that she had
Right.
ran away to there, but um it's just funny how dogs react like that. So animal communicating, I joke around. My wife will tell you that she thinks there's times where it's questionable if I'm going crazy or not. But I do this thing with my dog where I really honestly think, and I know that I'm sensitive to a certain degree, but I really honestly think that I'm I'm not so much hearing a voice, but I'm getting these psychic impressions when I talk to them,
Yeah.
and I just naturally, and I could be totally off base, but I just naturally seem to think that I know what they're saying. So I will actually say something to her, wait a couple of seconds, and whatever I think I've just felt that's now coming to
Right.
me in in words, I will say out loud, pretending that I'm talking as her. It drives my wife crazy. Um, but what is that all about? You communicate with animals. Do you hear them just psychically as though they're talking to you, or do you just get basically psychic impressions of what they're feeling?
It's the thing is, some people get impressions. It depends upon the individual. Some people get impressions. Some people get like pictures. Some people get emotions when they communicate. Some people get a word here and there. But I have like a full-on conversation, like I'm talking to you.
Yeah,
Once they get over the initial shock that they can understand me telepathically, then it's all about what they want, and they have a lot of questions. And usually the client has a lot of questions as well. So, I'm like the middleman. But animals are closer to God than we are because they're without sin. They don't have, our baggage. Unfortunately, we have a lot of baggage as humans, but the animals don't have that. It's like, oh, it's my time. I'm out of here. Okay, I'll be back. Just I lost my other Springer last August, and she says I'm going to wait for a while, Mom, before I come back. I'm like, that's fine. I said, just let me know when you're ready. And then beginning of May, she says, well, I'm ready. I've already been born, and you'll find me. And I've always found her each time. And suddenly I thought about, oh, let me look in the newspaper and see if there's something in there. And there it was. And she was the only one of the litter that had not been, adopted. So it's like, and the woman's like, I can't understand it. And I'm like, yeah, well, she's waiting for me. So that's why. What
um,
can I say?
I'm going to address a sensitive subject here. I have to. I'm being told to address this subject, and it's probably I'm being selfish because I'm guilty of this too. Like I said, I've never can never remember in my life not having a dog. I'm down to my last mastiff now, who's just turned 12, which is old for a mastiff, and she recently tore her cruciate in her left rear leg. She's able to still get up and down and in and out of the doggy door, which to me was important. If she couldn't get up and down and in and out the doggy door, I was going to have to make a tough decision because it's like with big dogs, it's like a horse when they go down. There's not a whole lot you
Right.
can do. But um, her doctor
Yeah.
put her on a couple of
Right.
very strong pain medications, and she's primarily a couch potato and an indoor dog anyhow. So, we deal with it.
Uh-huh.
But
Right.
when you lose a dog, I'm one of those kind of people. I'm really honestly thinking it's probably not going to happen, but I'm really honestly thinking this is going to be my last dog because when they go, I'm the guy that's on the
Mhm.
floor, rolling around, speaking in
Right.
tongues. I'm, don't even mess with me for like 2 weeks. I'm just
Right.
devastated. I get a lot
Uh-huh.
of people that reach out to me wanting just to talk through that because it's almost like even more so than it's upsetting to lose a loved one, a mother, father, brother, sister, close friend.
Right. Right.
That's can be debilitating and extremely upsetting too. But what is it about the animals that is so upsetting to us and why we can't let that go? And when people ask you about that, and how do you deal with it? And when people ask you how to deal with it, what do you tell them?
I tell them that, the reason why it's so intense is they have this unconditional love. That's, I don't care how mad you get, how grouchy you get, whether you had a bad day or not, they're always there waiting for you full of love. And I tell people, you have to think about that. It's like they're better off on the other side. When it's time for them to go, they're like out of here. They don't even second guess it. They're like my Springer. She looked at me one morning and said, "That's it, Mom. I'm ready." And I'm like, "Okay." And so we have a local vet that'll come into your home and put your dog down. She was 15 and 2 months. She couldn't get up, and she said, "That's it. I'm ready." So she was happy to be released from her body. I mean, she was running and everything because she couldn't hardly walk. And then she just collapsed that last day. And you just have to realize not to be selfish. That if they're in pain, they're better off on the other side. You want to. We all think, oh, I don't want you to leave. I don't want to miss you. I don't want you to die. But if they're in pain, if they're suffering and they're sticking around just for you, you need to let go
Yeah,
because they'll come back to you.
absolutely.
If they love you, they'll come back to you. This is my Springer's fourth incarnation. She's been back 4 times. This is her fourth time. If they love you, they'll come back. You'll find them. They always do.
Yeah, it's a rough one. I remember running into someone just like you at the last Highland Games I went to. I was there walking around with the wife, and some lady that I didn't even know walked up to me and said, "I don't know who you are, and I don't know if you go for all of this type of psychic stuff, but I happen to be a psychic medium, and I've never seen this before." And I'm thinking to myself, "What's she about to tell me?" She goes, "You have the largest group of animal spirits following you around that I've ever seen." And that was really, really cool because a lot of people wonder if they're going to see their pets again in heaven or if pets do go to heaven. I'm thinking of that famous, I think it was Will Rogers. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was Will Rogers said, if there are no dogs in heaven, I want to go where they're at. What do you have to say about that? About them? You mentioned them being close to God. Address if they go to heaven. And will you see them again? If they don't reincarnate and come back to you here, will you see them again? And what's all of that about?
They're in heaven. I mean, it's like people think because they're an animal, yeah, if they go to heaven, they're waiting for you there. I mean, there's not a separate place for dogs or cats or crocodiles or whatever. It's it's the soul consciousness. I have met learned people who believe that dogs don't have souls. I'm like, where are you coming from with that one? Everything that lives has a soul, and it's if they decide to come back as a cat or a dog or an elephant or a person, that's their decision. They make that decision. If they want to come back as a dog again, they'll come back as a dog again. People think that if it's a human soul, it has to come back as a human. Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Well, let's talk some paranormal stuff. I have people reaching out to me going, "Oh, good. Tell her to tell us all about her experience with Mr. Baggins and being on Ghost Adventures." And that was a great episode. Talk to us about that experience.
It was kind of funny because Michael, the archangel, he's like, you're going to be on Ghost Adventures, and I'm like, why would I be on Ghost Adventures? And he's like, you're going to be on Ghost Adventures. I'm like, whatever, and I'm at work, and a friend of mine had told Jeff Ballinger about me and about my group that went up to Astoria, Oregon, and there was demon activity and stuff, and so Jeff Ballinger called me at work, and so I go and talk to him. We're in the middle of a conversation, and then you hear this growling through the phone, and he's like, "What was that?" I'm like, "Oh, nothing, just a demon. Pray continue." I said, that happens all the time through the radio, through the phone. Don't make no difference. And he's like, "You're kidding." I'm like, "No." And then I got off the phone with them, and I said, "Okay, I'll come up." And I, when I made that decision, I got a message from an old demon. I will not say his name, but he's like, "I have a message for Zach Baggins, and you need to give it to him." I said, "Well, what is it? I'll give it to him." And he's like, "No, no, no, I'm going to be there." I'm like, "Whatever, fine, I don't care." So I get there, and Zach's like, "What is a demon seer?" And I explained to him. And basically, I think he thought I was full of crap. And but we did what you don't see on camera is that we did like an investigation. We went through the whole uh, basement of this Norblad hotel, and there was a lot of activity down there. There was a lesser demon and some minions running around. And then there was the old demon. And I told Zach, I said, "Do you remember that demon that took your sight at the demon house?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "This is that demon." I said, "He's here with a message for you, and you better listen. Because if they take the time to come here and give you a message, you had better listen, and you had better do as you're told." And he's like, "Well, will we be safe?" I said, "Yeah, as long as I'm here, you'll be safe." And Billy Tully was doing my camera. He was my cameraman. And we're down in the basement, and he hears this growling in his ear. He's like, and he swings around. He's like, "What was that?" I said, "Nothing, just a demon. Ignore it." I said, "It wants to distract you, so just ignore it." And then Zach's like, I had told Zach about a friend of mine who wanted to see what I see. And I had been in on a removal, and he wanted to go with me and see what I see, because I see demons in their true form. And I told Zach, I said, "Yeah, you don't want to see what I see." I said, "Because I don't think you can handle it, for one." I said, "I've been seeing demons this way my entire life." I said, "For me, it's every day." I said, "You don't want to see it." And then he said, "Yes, I do." So I told him, I said, "Okay, hold my hand." He held my hand, and he's like, what he saw was I had placed the demon in the corner. I basically had chained him up to the wall. And uh, and then once he saw the demon, then he ripped his hand out of mine. And I asked him how his back was. And he's like, "It hurts. It attacked my back." I said, "Yeah, it's your weak spot. Why wouldn't it?" I said, "Here's your message." I said, "Your message is to show respect, to stop provoking, show respect for them, for the old demons." I said, "If you disrespect them," I said, "they'll do like they did to you in the demon house and take your sight. They'll take something much more than that. They can reach in and stop your heart without a problem. No problem whatsoever." And he's off camera. He told me when he took my hand that he saw it was beautiful. He saw a white light. He felt so serene, and and peaceful. He said, and then a curtain went up and he saw the demon. And that's when he ripped his hand out of mine. And so we got through with that. And then I was headed upstairs in the hotel and he just ran out the door and into a waiting car and took off. And I'm standing there with Billy, and he calls Billy and he says, I don't think she knows what she's doing, blah, blah, blah. I'm seeing things, I'm hearing things. And Billy's like, dude, she told you, you're going to see what she sees. You're going to hear what she hears. You need to get back here so that she can take it from you. And he finally came back, and I took the sight from him. But I told him, I said, I told you, you didn't want to see it. I said, and I was right, wasn't I? Well, I've dealt with demons before. I said, no. You haven't really dealt with a demon. You've experienced their wrath, but you really haven't dealt with one. And he didn't like that, but that's the way it is. It's true.
For all the people out there that want to know, explain what Zach asked, so we might as well ask you also. Explain to us what a demon seer is, and then if you've ever thought of, and you probably know the answer to this, what God's purpose for giving you this gift was, and when it comes to things like exorcism and possession and stuff, what role you may or may not play in those types of scenarios.
Okay, so I have to go back to, and my grandmother told me that in the 14th century, there was a prophecy in the family. She's Irish. And it was handed down from female to female in the family that a female child would be born who would have the soul of an angel and would be able to see demons in their true form, be able to communicate with them and see them and kill them. And my grandmother said that she knew the moment I was put in her arms that I was the child that they were talking about. And so a demon seer is somebody who can communicate with demons, see them, remove them, and kill them. And it seems like people say, well, you can't kill a demon. Yes, you can. Of course you can. The thing is, it's done on a whole different plane of existence. It's not in the physical world. It's different. When I was in 1986, I was in a motorcycle accident. I died. A woman ran a red light, hit me on my bike, and I died and went to the other side. And my grandparents were there to meet me, and Michael was there. And he says, you're here because you need to understand who and what you are. He says, and he touched my forehead, and I relived all of these lifetimes back to the present life. And he says, look upon yourself. And I'm like thinking to myself, I don't have a mirror, And then a mirror appeared. And I didn't look like me. I was like 7 feet tall. I had a 12-foot wingspan. I had hair halfway down my back. It was a dark auburn. The eyes were like glacial blue and white. And I didn't look the same. He says, this is who you truly are. He says, your physical body was created as a vessel to hold Ariel the Archangel so that she may do the work in the physical world. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, your job is to find demons and remove them. He said, that's what you're supposed to be doing. That's what you've done in every other lifetime. And I didn't even know who that was. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I was dead in the street, and the cop was there, and I came back to my body, and he looked so relieved. And so I looked up who Ariel was, and really there's not much you can find out about her except for her name means Lion of God. And she's one of the 5 that guard the throne of God. But she is so much more. Michael said that I needed to be merged with her so that I could see through her eyes, see what she sees, hear what she hears, and feel what she feels, and vice versa, and have the knowledge that she has. So, I've been doing it ever since then. And when she comes forward, people say that there are physical manifestations. They see like wings coming out of my shoulders. My eyes turn white. My face and my voice changes. But I'm a little busy when she comes out because she only comes out when I do a removal when there's a demon present. Then it's like it's on. She comes out. I remember the first exorcism I did. It was kind of odd, but there were 11 demons in this woman, and she had been dealing with this for 20 years. And
Why
it
so
took
long? No,
3 hours. It
she
took
couldn't
every
find help.
hour.
She couldn't find any
She couldn't
help
find
before
help.
in that. Wow.
No, she couldn't find anybody who would believe her, who would help her. So she gave up until I did a show called Ground Zero, with Clyde Lewis. So he did a special on me, and she contacted me, and I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, right, whatever. And then I said, send me a picture. So the minute she sent me the picture, I knew what was there. And I have a friend who's an ordained minister, and another friend that goes with me. She doesn't have my abilities, but she is empathic. And I asked them if they wanted to go with me, and because God told me to ask my friend Aaron, the ordained minister, if he would go. And he said, God said, the reason he needs to go is because he fears the dark ones. And you cannot serve me and fear the dark ones. And so he came. And then my friend Wendy, she came as well. We're there. The first 10 of them weren't that hard to remove. But then we got down to the last one. And I looked into its mind because it was refusing, to go. And I was having problems with it, you know. I was having problems because it was lashing out at the woman. So I said, I know why you're hiding. I said, you're hiding because you were given a job to do by Lucifer, and you just didn't bother to do it. You just blew it off. And I said, I know he'll kill you if he catches up to you. And I said, how would you like to go home? I said, would you like to go home, go into the light? He says, I can't. I can never go home. I said, that's not true. If you truly are repentant and you truly want forgiveness, you can. And I said out loud, Jesus, come forth. And my friends are standing in front of me and the woman. I'm standing behind the chair where the woman is. And they part as this huge white hand comes out towards the woman. And I could hear Jesus say, you can come home. And the demon looked like it was tempted, and then it pulled back at the last moment. He said, no, you're lying. I can't. I can never go back. And so Jesus withdrew his arm and left. And I said, and Ariel, when Ariel's out, we're like one. So I know everything that she's doing, and I could hear her and everything. And I said out loud, Lucifer, come forth. And what my friend saw was this entity appear at the end of the hall. And to them, it looked like a black entity in like a fedora, double-breasted suit, and spats. That's how they perceived it, because that's how he wanted them to perceive it. I just saw Lucifer, and he came down the hall towards the woman and I and my friends, and he looked at the woman and he said, demon, come with me. He said its name, and it said, no, 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 I'm not doing it. I'm not leaving. And Lucifer looked at me and said, I know you don't want me to harm the woman. He said, so I'll be back for it tonight. And he turned around and walked away and disappeared. And we all left and went home to our respective beds. 3 a.m. that night, I should say the next morning, we all were woken and we all heard, it's done. So I called the woman the next day, and she said, she said she feels completely empty, that she had never felt this way in over 20 years. And she
Wow.
was so happy. And I asked her, I said, please get counseling. I said, you have PTSD after this long of dealing with
Absolutely.
these things. To go get counseling. And she did. But to this day, both of my friends, the Aaron, the ordained minister, he says, I've always known that Jesus exists and God, and I've always known that the devil exists. He said, but to see them virtually in the same room at the same time, he says, I can't wrap my head around that. He's like, I really can't. And I told him, I said, yeah, but you didn't know went around in such exalted company, did you? I started laughing. You have to laugh at it because,
Yeah.
what I do is dark. You got to have a sense of humor. Come on. We still talk about it to this day. That was
They
about 5 or 6
for
years ago.
there were a lot of years there where I would tell colleagues of mine in the field that I'm working this case or that case,
Yeah,
and there's many demons present. And
yeah,
there was a time where I would speak to many clergy that didn't think they traveled in packs. Now
they do. Yeah,
I don't think I meet many clergy that won't agree they do, but they
they
absolutely
do.
do.
Oh, yeah. They're like dogs. They travel in packs. Always. And there is always, wherever there's an old demon or a lesser demon, there are the minions. They're little, I call them procurers. I, I think of a demon as, I think the lesser demon as a pimp. And the little minion guys, which they used to call them imps. They're going around trying to find victims. I was like, okay, so he's out there. The pimp is out.
What would you say if you have an answer to this, and if you there's no wrong answer here, in your humble opinion, if there is an answer to this, what would you say would be the biggest thing for people to do to avoid becoming a target and having these things enter their lives, or God forbid, um, possession?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I preach to people that do paranormal investigation. I'm like, if you happen to see something which you think is a negative entity, do not acknowledge it. To acknowledge it is to make it see you. Demons are kind of funny because funny, strange, not funny, haha, because they look for certain things. They follow an MO. They look for someone with weak faith. They look for someone that has been abused or is abusing you know, alcohol, drugs, in an abusive situation, grew up in a violent situation, or people that are violent or have mental health issues, or even chaos will attract them. They're like, they love chaos. That will attract them. Um, there are sometimes it's just a matter of being in the wrong place at the right time, and it'll attach itself to you. But if they want you, they're going to find you. That's just the way it is. I have friends that are Reiki masters, and they're like, we were taught not to talk about it, not to read about it, not to think about it because it'll attract them. I'm like, I told her, I said, honey, I said, if they want you, I said, they're going to find you. I said, it don't matter whether you never read anything about demons or know anything about demons. I said, if they want you, they're going to find you. I
Yeah,
said, there are a number of factors surrounding that. And there's no good. I wish I could say, yeah, for absolute certain, this is what you do, and then you'll never have a problem. But I can't because I've run into too many people that have great faith in God and still are plagued by these things. It's I I have no they, so I have found over the years that if you live several lifetimes, which most people do, if you've dealt with the dark ones in another lifetime, say several lifetimes, that some of that residual energy holds over in the soul. It's in the soul cellular makeup, and these things are attracted by that. They're like a dog, bloodhound. They can sense that dark energy from past lifetimes as well, and it's bizarre, but it happens more and more. You find things like that. Years ago, when I first started dealing with demons, I thought it was just simply cut and dried. And it's like Michael says, he says, forget everything you think you know about demons because you don't know squat. He says, and they keep changing, they keep evolving. And that's true. And there are demons out there that will push their evolution. They want to evolve, and they'll push their evolution and they'll go crazy. If they were a person, I'd say they're insane because they don't fit any parameter of a normal demon. They don't travel with imps, minions, whatever. Even the other demons will shun them because they are not right in the head. They'll even kill them. It's bizarre. It's just I found that over the last 10, 12 years. I've seen a lot of it.
Yeah, you have to be very careful. Everybody, you, I,
Yep.
clergy, especially clergy, we're the biggest targets. But you hear these
Oh yeah.
famous stories, famous great saints told stories of how they've been
Right.
tormented by demons their whole lives, and there's actually been cases where priests have been become possessed. So
Oh yeah. Yeah.
you gotta be strong in your faith and be very very
You
careful.
do. Very vigilant, hyper vigilant. And I asked Michael one time, I said, Michael, I don't understand. I said, why does it take, the Catholic priests so long to remove a demon? 99.9% of the time. And he says, there are three factors. He said, you have to have faith in yourself, faith in what you're doing, and that is, he said, as long as you have those three things, you're good. If you have any doubt, you do it. You cannot have any doubt. And so I tell people, they ask me, well, and I'm like, no, why should I be? I said, that's a weakness. They'll latch onto that weakness and you'll be screwed. You'll never be able to do the work.
You mentioned your Irish background. I happen to know that you just recently went to. You were scheduled to be on the show, and then you ended up having a trip to England. Did you get a chance to go
Yeah.
to Ireland too, or was it just England?
England and Scotland, Glasgow, I have friends in both. I want to make it to Ireland, but that'll probably be, in a couple of years when I go again. So I'll hit
Well, maybe
Ireland
you
because
can go
that's where
with
my
me. I'm,
family
I'm
still is.
planning a 25th wedding anniversary trip to the UK, and Ireland's going to be on that tour maybe, and we're going to try and take
Oh,
a dozen couples, half a dozen single people, and a dozen couples or so. Maybe you'll go with us on that trip.
yeah, that'd be cool. I have family and friends over there, so I just stay with them. I spent a
I've got
week
a
on the Isle of Wight.
I have a couple of minutes left before I have to sadly say goodbye to you. But um, when people say England is the most haunted country in the world, what do you say to them?
I think it's a good possibility. It could be. Scotland's pretty well, haunted, but there's a lot of hauntings in England. I encountered quite a few. Talked to I told Henry VIII to bite me. Yes, he was calling me a witch. 'Cause he was calling me a witch. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, bite me. Don't be calling me no witch. I said, you're fatter and uglier than your pictures. Go away.
What do you have? What do you have cooking? And you got some new books out. Your website. I was just at your website.
Yeah,
Um, hopefully I wrote it down. Let me
I
see
have.
here.
A year
Oh,
ago,
there we go.
March,
I
I
did write it
released.
down. I wrote
Yeah,
down.
I wrote it.
I did
Demons
not
Here,
write
the
your
Awakening.
website down. What happened to me?
Demons Here, the Awakening was released in March, a year ago, March. And then I released Demon Seekers into Darkness, the second in my fantasy series. The first one, Demons Here, the Awakening, talks about how the negatives are influencing the world today. And there are a couple of really good chapters in it. One is protection, and the other one is where to find help and how to help yourself. And the Johnson brothers have agreed to be in there with their links and stuff. So did that. Did Father Raphael, the Order of St. Michael's of Exorcists. He agreed for me to put his information in there for people that, to get help, and a few other people. So there's some good links in there for people to find help, because I can't be everywhere. Even though I can do removals from a distance, I've removed demons as far away as Australia and the Netherlands. I can do it remotely as long as I have a picture of the location or the individual.
Did you have fun when you come back?
Yes. I always have fun on your show. Come on.
Let's not wait another. I really have to apologize. I don't know what happened. Why? Because the last time we spoke, we had such a good time. How
Yeah.
6 years went by without us getting together like this, I don't have a clue. But I'm going to definitely have you back sooner than later. Definitely, I'm going to keep you posted on how my trip to Ireland is. The plans for that is coming
Oh, yeah,
together.
great. Cool.
I know that
I'd
I
like to do
just have
that.
a
Yeah.
feeling that you just may be on that trip with me, which would be
Yeah.
very cool. But
That would be
I
cool.
love you. I
Yeah.
respect you. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful remainder of your weekend. And don't be a stranger. I'll be watching you.
All right. Thank you. You have a great weekend too. Love
All
you.
righty.
Take care
I
of
love you
yourself.
too. I'll see you later.
Bye
Bye bye,
bye.
June. Bye. June Lundgren. I can't believe. Bad host. Bad host. I thought I wrote her. I thought I wrote her website down, but I did not. June Lundgren. I'll put some of the links to her website. I think she might have said it. I think it's demonseer.com.
Yeah, www.demonseer.com, and you can also reach her at June Lundgren on Facebook.
Boom. I didn't even get a chance to talk to her about this funny thing I saw her post on her thing. It says, "If you see me talking to myself, just move along. We're having a team meeting." It reminded me of the time I saw the reflection of a spirit in the glass at the frozen section in the market. And I thought it was a real person at first. And I was talking to get out of its way. There was nobody there, but I could still see the person in the reflection. And so I started talking to the person, like, "What do you want? Is there something I'm not supposed to get here? Like, are you going to get on me too about picking out frozen pizza? Back off." And people in next to me, these ladies thought I was losing my mind, and then one of the guys that worked at the market walked over and asked me if I was okay. So yeah, I didn't get a chance. I'll have June back. I can't believe it's been 6 years since I spoke to her. I love her. She's a very, very cool lady. All right, guys, what do I want to tell you? I will be here with another live news show next Friday. Oh, you guys are going to love her. Next Friday, July 28th. Psychic portrait artist Angela Bolee will be here. You guys are going to love her. What else I want to tell you guys? I love each and every one of you. Thank you all so very much for being here today. If you want to know about the church I belong to, the United States Old Catholic Church, go to usocc.org or bishopjameslong.com. You'll find links there to cool things like Bible study, which we have every Wednesday and Sunday afternoons at 5 p.m. Pacific. Links to night prayer, which we have Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific, which is very, very cool. For all of you out there, and you know who you are, that need a little more God in your life, that's what you can do. Thank you to Zach and Adrian Clayton for co-producing my show. I couldn't do it without them because I don't have a clue how to do that. I'm very computer illiterate. Thank you to Things Network. Thank you to Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment. Thank you to Skeleton Key Network. Thank you to PACT, little p, capital ACT, Podcasting for All Coming Together channel. For all of these networks simulcasting my show, God bless you all for doing that. And it's bad joke time. I'm going to pull a bad joke that one of you sent in out of this haunted carnival barker hat. And it's my poor attempt to put a smile on everybody's face before I say good night. What has more lives than a cat? A frog, because it croaks every day. Good night, Danny. Good night, Jack. Good night, Dog. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. I love you all. God bless you all. Peace.